Toyota e-CVT Hybrid, Honda eHEV, Nissan e-Power, real fuel savings, real ownership costs. Which hybrid actually saves you money? Here's the pattern interrupt. The hybrid that saves you the most money is rarely the one with the best MPG number on the window sticker. It's the one that matches your driving pattern and doesn't trap you with a premium you never earn back. Let's break this down. If you want to understand cars before you buy them, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because cars aren't complicated, they're just poorly explained, and hybrid savings is one of the most expensive things people misunderstand. Picture this. It's Sunday night, you're doing the responsible thing. You're looking at your budget, your commute, and that gas receipt you didn't even want to look at. You tell yourself, okay, hybrid time. Then the internet throws 3 options at you like they're the same product. Toyota Hybrid with the e-CVT, the one everybody says lasts forever, Honda eHEV, the one everybody says drives better, Nissan e-Power, the one people describe like an EV you refuel with gas, and you ask the only question that matters if you're paying with your own money. Which one actually saves me money? Not which one feels smartest, and not which one has the coolest tech story. Which one costs you the least in real life? So I'm going to give you the only framework that works, total cost of ownership. Because savings isn't MPG. Savings is what leaves your bank account over the years you own the car. And it comes down to 4 buckets: what you pay to buy it, what you pay to fuel it, what you pay to maintain and repair it, and what you get back when you sell it. If you ignore even one of those, you can buy a hybrid to save money and end up spending more. Now, before we compare costs, we have to get clear on what these systems actually are, because they're not the same kind of hybrid. Toyota's hybrid e-CVT system, in cars like the Prius, Camry Hybrid, RAV4 Hybrid, and many Lexus hybrids, is usually a power-split hybrid design. People call it e-CVT, but it's not a belt CVT. It's a planetary gear set with motor generators blending engine power and electric power. It's famous for being mechanically calm and durable. Honda eHEV, often described as a 2-motor hybrid system, typically drives the wheels mainly with an electric motor in many everyday situations, while the engine often runs to generate electricity. Then, at steady higher speeds, it can clutch the engine directly to the wheels through a fixed ratio. It often feels very smooth in the city and very responsive off the line. Nissan e-Power is generally a series hybrid layout. The wheels are driven by an electric motor, and the engine's job is to generate electricity. That's why it can feel the most EV-like in stop-and-go driving. But it also means you're often converting energy from engine to electricity to motor, and conversion losses can show up more on steady high-speed cruising. Quick reality check that matters financially. E-Power availability depends on your country. In Japan and parts of Europe, it's common. In other markets, it can be rare or not offered on many models. That affects resale, parts, and who can service it. Now, let's do the most important part: fuel cost, but done correctly. Most people compare MPG like it's a trophy. The real metric is cost per mile. Fuel cost per mile equals your fuel price divided by your real MPG. So, if gas is $4 a gallon, at 30 mpg, you're paying about 13 cents per mile. At 40 mpg, you're paying about 10 cents per mile. At 50 mpg, you're paying about 8 cents per mile. That doesn't sound huge until you multiply it by your yearly miles. So, here's the first question that decides everything. How many miles do you drive per year? If you drive 8,000 miles a year, fuel savings are smaller. If you drive 20,000 miles a year, fuel savings can be massive. Most people never ask this first. They just buy the hybrid story. Now, let's talk about where each hybrid system tends to win on fuel use, because they don't win in the same place. Toyota e-CVT hybrids tend to be the most consistent across mixed driving: city, highway, hills, heat, cold. Generally speaking, Toyota's system is designed to be pretty good everywhere, and that's why it works for so many people. Honda eHEV tends to be extremely strong in low speed and mixed driving, where the electric motor does a lot of the work. A lot of drivers get great results in real traffic, but depending on model and driving style, highway cruising at higher speeds can shrink the gap more versus Toyota than people expect, because the system's direct drive clutch strategy and engine behavior under load can change the feel and sometimes the efficiency profile. Nissan e-Power tends to feel amazing in stop-and-go driving because the motor is always driving the wheels and regen can be strong. But on long highway cruising, especially at 75 to 80, the efficiency advantage can shrink because the engine is effectively acting as a generator feeding an electric drive system, and steady high-power demand tends to expose conversion losses more than stop-and-go does. So, here's the second question that decides which saves money. Are you mostly city stop-and-go or mostly steady highway? Because hybrids are not equally magical on the highway. City is where hybrids print money. Highway is where physics takes it back. Now, the next bucket is the one that makes or breaks the hybrid saves money claim, the purchase premium. In 2026, hybrids often cost more, sometimes a lot more, and sometimes the used market is so hot that the hybrid premium is basically baked into everything. So, do this like an adult. Take the price difference between the hybrid you want and the comparable non-hybrid gas version, or between the hybrids you're cross-shopping. That difference is your premium. Now, estimate your annual fuel savings, not EPA, your driving. Premium divided by annual fuel savings equals rough break-even years. Example, let's say you pay $3,000 more for one hybrid over another and you save $500 a year in fuel. That's a 6-year break-even. If you keep cars 10 years, you can win. If you trade every 3 years, you probably won't. This is where people get burned in real life. They buy the hybrid, then trade it before the savings ever have time to stack up.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but hybrids have better resale, so I'll get the premium back. Sometimes. But you have to understand how resale actually works. Toyota hybrids tend to have very strong resale in many markets because the buyer pool is huge and the trust story is baked in. That can protect you even if you pay more to buy it. Honda hybrids often also have strong resale, but Toyota tends to have a slight edge in used buyer confidence in many places because people have heard the 300,000-mile Prius story 1,000 times. Nissan e-Power resale depends heavily on market familiarity. If buyers in your area don't understand it or don't see many of them, they discount uncertainty. Markets hate uncertainty more than they hate reality. That can mean lower resale even if the car is good. So the third question is, when you sell, who is the next buyer and what are they comfortable buying in your area? Because your resale value is basically your local market's opinion, not your personal experience. Now let's talk maintenance and repair costs, because this is where savings gets real. Hybrids are not maintenance-free. They're maintenance different. All 3 systems still have an engine, so you still have oil changes, filters, coolant service, spark plugs at the interval, and normal wear items like tires, suspension, and brakes. Hybrids often save money on brakes because regenerative braking reduces pad wear. But hybrids can also have more complex brake blending systems depending on model, so you don't treat brakes like free. Now, how do these 3 systems differ in risk cost? Toyota e-CVT hybrids have a long reputation for drivetrain durability because the transaxle design is mechanically calm. It's not a belt CVT. It's not a conventional automatic with constant shifting, and many independent shops have experience with it. That lowers both failure probability and repair friction. Honda eHEV systems are also generally robust, and electric motors tend to be durable. The system is heavily software controlled and uses a clutch for direct engine drive at higher speeds. Most owners won't touch that clutch in their life, but from a systems perspective, it's a different architecture than Toyota's. Long-term outcomes are often very good, but the exact model and year matter more than people admit. Nissan e-Power is an interesting case because the driving motor does the propulsion work, which can feel great. But again, market ecosystem matters. How many techs in your area know it, how easy diagnostics are, and how parts supply behaves. A car can be reliable and still be a hassle if support is thin. Now, here's a simple truth I learned working around cars. Downtime is a cost. If one drivetrain takes 2 days to diagnose and another takes 2 hours, that matters, even if the parts cost is similar. Now let's myth bust the bad advice that ruins people financially. Myth 1. The hybrid with the highest MPG saves the most money. Not necessarily. If you pay too much up front, you can lose money while saving fuel. Myth 2. E-Power is basically an EV, so it's the cheapest. It can feel EV-like, but it still burns gasoline to generate electricity. It's not grid-powered, so it won't have EV-level energy cost per mile. It's a different tool. EV feel without plugging in. Myth 3. Toyota always saves the most money. Toyota often wins on predictability and resale, but if Toyota pricing is inflated in your market and Honda pricing is more reasonable, Honda can be the better financial buy. Savings is math, not a badge. Now let's get brutally practical and answer the question the way you actually need it answered, by scenario. Scenario 1. You drive mostly city, traffic, short trips, lots of stops. This is where hybrids shine. In this life, Honda eHEV can be a money saver and a sanity saver because the electric drive feel is strong and efficiency can be excellent in stop and go. Nissan e-Power can also feel incredible in this scenario because you're basically always being pushed by an electric motor. If it's widely supported in your market and priced right, it can be a strong city tool. Toyota e-CVT hybrids will also do very well here. Sometimes not the coolest feel, but the cost predictability and resale strength often keep the total cost low. So the money winner in city life often becomes whichever one you can buy without a crazy premium, because in city driving all three can be efficient. The price you pay matters more. Scenario 2. You drive mostly highway at 70 to 80, long steady commutes. This is where the saving story changes. Toyota e-CVT hybrids tend to be the safest, consistent efficiency bet for mixed and highway-heavy life. Not always the best in any single moment, but generally strong and stable. Honda eHEV can still be efficient, but if you're the kind of driver who cruises fast on rolling hills, you may notice more engine activity. That doesn't automatically mean worse, but it means you need to look at real owner highway numbers, not just combined ratings. Nissan e-Power is the one you really need to test against your commute, because the conversion chain can be less favorable at steady high-speed cruising, and the engine may run in a way that feels detached. So, in highway life, Toyota often wins the most likely to save you money category, because the system was built to be good without depending on stop-and-go advantages. Scenario 3. You drive high miles, like 20,000 a year or more. Now, fuel savings stacks up fast, and small differences start to matter. In this scenario, Toyota and Honda are both strong choices, and the real winner often becomes the one with the best deal up front, the best real-world MPG in your driving, and the least downtime risk where you live. If e-Power is common in your market and supported well, it can be a contender, but you don't want to be the rare drivetrain with limited support when you're driving that much. Scenario 4. You don't keep cars long. If you trade every 3 to 4 years, the biggest cost is depreciation, not fuel. In that case, the money saver is often the hybrid with the strongest resale and the least inflated buy price. Toyota often performs well here, but again, if Toyota pricing is inflated and you buy at peak premium, you can still lose. Now, here's the clean conclusion without hype. Which hybrid actually saves you money? Toyota e-CVT hybrids most consistently save money for the widest range of people because they combine good real-world efficiency, strong resale, and a proven low-drama drivetrain ecosystem. Honda eHEV often saves money if your driving is city-heavy or mixed, and you can buy it at a fair premium. And a lot of people will value the driving feel enough that it becomes the best buy, even if it's not the absolute cheapest. Nissan e-Power can save money and feel the best in heavy urban driving, but whether it's a true financial win depends heavily on your market, pricing, resale demand, and service support. So the actual answer is a filter, not a slogan. The hybrid that saves you money is the one you can buy without overpaying, that fits your driving pattern, that has support where you live, and that you'll keep long enough to earn back the premium. If you tell me your annual miles, your city versus highway split, your typical highway speed, and the 3 exact models you're cross-shopping, I'll run the break-even math in plain English and tell you which one is most likely to be the cheapest for your life, not the comment section.